was just the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Like, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mark It Down podcast. I am James Gisanti. It is Thursday night, so you know what that means. We are here in the Gym Packed Zone, where we cover all things TNA. This was a hot show coming right off the heels of Sacrifice last Friday. I'm sorry I wasn't here with you guys last week for TNA. I've told you, Friday Night Wrestling, no matter the company, can be a little difficult for me here. But it was a good show. I caught most of it after the fact. I'm sorry, again, that I couldn't enjoy it with you guys, but I hope you did. Let's see. We got Maria in the comments. Hello, Maria. Excellent impact tonight. I agree. I thought this was a good show. You know it, saying that he turned on notifications to ensure he will miss the opening of the show. I'm sorry, Rev. I see you in the comments, but at least I did remember the intro tonight. We did a little bit better tonight. Eric, I hope you're having a good day. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a good day. But Sacrifice saw a lot of changes. Sacrifice saw a lot of character changes. Thank you. You know it. We're a bit late on that, but you know what? Every day should be treated like my birthday. Love me no matter what. Doesn't matter the time of year. Doesn't matter the calendar day. Just love me and support me, and I appreciate you. But we saw lots of changes. We saw some betrayals, some title changes, some alignment issues. So TNA is setting up a new status quo coming off of Sacrifice. We'll start the show off with our Knockouts champion, Masha Slamovich, who successfully retained at the pay-per-view against NXT's Cora Jade. Masha comes out basically addressing all of her enemies, ready for her next challenge, ready for whoever is willing to, as she put it, step up. This, of course, brings out none other than Tessa Blanchard. Tessa, who had a big win last week, 2 big wins last week in TNA, getting the win over Legging Lee at the pay-per-view. Tessa says that she's been to places and done things that Masha never will. Tessa says that it's time to take back what belongs to her, and Masha tries to respond, but before she can, she is attacked by NXT's JC Jane. That's right. We are starting to see right out the gate some NXT crossover tonight. We're already starting to see some of the NXT women challenging the TNA knockouts. And quite frankly, this should be one of the most exciting aspects of the TNA and NXT crossover. It goes without saying that without much argument, NXT has the best booked women's division in professional wrestling right now. AEW has really been lighting it up, firing on all cylinders, hitting very big highs, obviously with Toni Storm and Mariah May and Mercedes Moné. But NXT has just been consistently killing it. And then you have the TNA Knockouts, which is, quite frankly, one of the most respected women's divisions in all of professional wrestling history. This should lead to some very exciting matchups or some very interesting crossovers. But obviously we have seen, and I've been saying it for a little while now, that the Knockouts division is slightly thin. It's been a little depleted. So to see these NXT women starting again tonight with JC Jane coming over, obviously the Cora Jade rivalry was going on for a little while. It's been cool to see, and it's been helping pad out TNA's Knockouts division. So we know the big matchup is going to be Masha versus Tessa. JC, I'm sure, is going to have a good match against Masha next week. But the reality of the situation is... Oh, and I guess I didn't finish. I do apologize. Let me just finish talking about what happened here. As JC and Tessa are doing their beatdown. The referees and security separate them. Santino says that this isn't how we conduct ourselves in TNA, but if they're looking for a fight, he'll make it happen. And next week, it will be JC Jane versus Masha Slamovich. And Tessa is banned from ringside. Very big detail there. So, yeah. Let's see. Maria in the comments saying NXT took the knockouts from poor TNA. LO. I mean, yeah, right now NXT is kind of killing it. We lost Jordan Grace over to NXT, and I'm sure she is just the first of several. So hopefully when the dust settles on this partnership, TNA isn't completely depleted. But yeah. Maria also saying she misses Toxic Attraction. I get it. I agree. But hey, we did see a little bit of that tonight. So we'll talk more in a bit. You know it, saying that Tessa, NXT should take Tessa. I think they're very happy with where she is right now. I'm sure we'll see them use her in the future. I'm sure. I would not be shocked to see a crossover in the future. But if/when, let's stick with if she ever screws up again, she's TNA's problem, not WWE. So, following this fun opener, well, let me just say, again, we're setting up to Tessa versus Masha. And on paper, that should be a very fun matchup, a really hard-hitting matchup. Two juggernauts going at it. Sorry, Jordan, you're not there anymore. The problem is the Masha we've been presented with lately doesn't seem to have the same edge, doesn't seem to have the same Adam Copeland that she used to. I don't view this as the same Battle of the Titans it once was or once could have been, but I'm still rooting for Masha. Even Tessa or not, I'd still be rooting for Masha. But yeah, I think Tessa is, as Maria said, Tessa should win. I think she will. I think she will. It's a matter of when, not if, she'll be Knockouts champion again. And Maria also suggesting Tessa versus Charlotte. Once upon a time, that would have been a WrestleMania main event. Night 1, night 2, whatever. Absolutely, that would have been a WrestleMania main event. Unfortunately, real life, personal choices got in the way, and I don't think we're ever going to get that. So, unfortunate, but yes. Marie also saying babyface turn always takes away. Who would be the babyface here? Who would be turning babyface? I'm sorry, Marie. I don't think I got that correctly. But after this, we go backstage, coming off of a commercial break, as Santino Marella, the director of Authority, is backstage with Ariana Grace, the NXT TNA liaison. Santino is very upset that this happened. He was very surprised. He confronts her, asking if she knew that it was happening, and she says that she had no idea. She knew nothing about it, and the only surprise she knew of is the same one he knows about that's going to be later in the show. Interessante. Santino says he doesn't like surprises and doesn't want something like that happening again. Maybe the cracks are forming. Daddy-daughter rivalry might lead to the eventual NXT TNA pay-per-view cross a versus event that we've all been waiting for. We'll see. But maybe. Yes. Maria, you're absolutely right. That Masha was more fierce as a heel in her first run in TNA. Absolutely. It's weird because she's very clearly achieved more becoming the Knockouts World Champion as a face. But there was just more to her aura. There was more to her persona when she was a heel. Hopefully, she'll be able to find a balance sooner than later. But moving on, we then go to our first matchup of the night, as the Rascals took on the Northern Armory. We sort of had this match a few weeks ago, but it was a trios match or a six-man tag, as the Rascals were teaming with Ace Austin, and the Northern Armory wasn't just Travis Williams and Judas Icarus, it was also Eric Young. But in this instance, Young is sitting out and Ace Austin is not accompanying the Rascals, who the three of them were successful at Sacrifice against Wesley and his guys in their TNA NXT crossover match. But this match was fine. It was a fun way to really get the crowd going and getting things started. Lots of back and forth action between the guys. I want to really get invested in the Northern Armory. I want to get invested into Travis Williams and Judas Icarus, but there's just something missing right now. I don't know if it's their look that's just a little plain. I don't know if they just need to develop a little more personality beyond just being Eric Young's goons. But so far, that connection hasn't been able to be made for me. Again, the match was good. The match was fun. Finish coming as Trey and Zach both hit the feed the Lions, and then Trey scores the 1-2-3. Definitely channeling some Latino heat as they were in El Paso tonight, doing a little shoulder shimmy after a fun spine buster. Fun fact for you guys: spine buster is my favorite move that isn't a finisher. Just regular move wise, spine buster is it for me. Let's see comments real quick. Maria saying, I'm still not fully sold on Wesley as a heel. I agree. I think I understand why they did it. I think it was a good move to turn him heel at some point, just so he could develop a little bit more. I truly don't think you could develop as a wrestler unless you've been on both sides of the aisle, if you've been a good guy and if you've been a bad guy. So I'm fine with that in concept. It's just more, he's so likable as a face and he feels so much more natural as a face that it feels like no matter what he does accomplish as a heel, he's not really living up to what we know he can be. And in NXT's current landscape, him being this small heel in the land of babyface giants like Trick and Obafemi, it's hard. It's hard. Maria saying Arn Anderson is the master of the spine buster. Absolutely. Arn Anderson, Bobby Roode, Ron Simmons. I love the Rock spine buster. I love Batista's spine buster. Triple H's is all right. I like Triple H's. I think it gets a little overhyped, so maybe I get a little negative on it. But yes, spine buster, sign me up. Sign me up. But after the match, Eric Young tried getting involved, and now at this point, the three members of the Northern Armory are circling the Rascals until Ace Austin's music hits. He comes out with a chair, makes the save, fending off the Northern Armory. So it seems that this alliance between the Rascals and Ace Austin isn't done. I'm kind of here for it. Oh, look. Okay. I'll ask you a second.
Hey,
welcome to the Gym Pack Zone.
I just wanted to make a quick jump in. Don't forget to talk about Homicide tonight.
Oh, no, I was gonna end the show with that, but we could talk about it real quickly here. I'll create a banner for it. But for those of you who are unaware, TNA legend, Ring of Honor legend, independent wrestling legend, Homicide, unfortunately announced earlier this week that tonight's matchup at Outlaw Wrestling would be his retirement match due to an unfortunate discovery by his doctor that he has a cyst on his brain. He is choosing to go out here on this note for both his health and to go out on his own terms. So Homicide wrestled, I believe it was Bull James tonight at Outlaw Wrestling.
I think the matchup was him and Bull James versus Santana and Alpha Jr.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, I mean, I think the Santana part's very cool.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do rain on Homicide's parade.
No.
Like, not a big fan of Bull James and Alpha Jr. I think Homicide definitely deserves better. But again, this is probably something he had to do. It was more like now or never. And probably Eddie Kingston is not, cleared to, is not back to, otherwise, because I think him and Homicide and Eddie Kingston versus Santana, and if they could convince Santana and Ortiz to team up, one more time. I think that could be really, really nice. But he's working with the cards he's dealt. Very unfortunate. Like it's affected his speech. Like he doesn't sound great.
Yeah.
It's sad to see, but he seems to be in good spirits, which is always good.
Yes.
And hopefully this is something he can recover from. I honestly don't know. I'm not a doctor. So
I mean, medical science has obviously come a long way. We're learning more and more about the brain every day. At the end of it, if this is his retirement, I'm at peace with that. As much as I would just rather any medical issues he has to deal with in the future, like you mentioned, his speech, his vision, I believe you spoke about briefly. I would rather those be resolved than him come back to the ring. As much as I would love that, but I'm huge Homicide fan. I've been privileged to see him wrestle live several times over the years. Whether it was his AEW appearance was probably his most recent that I saw him wrestle live, or TNA as part of LAX along with Hernandez, or in Ring of Honor where he is a former world champion, having beaten Bryan Danielson for the ROH world title. Homicide is a lot of your favorite wrestlers today were inspired by Homicide. So very big loss in the wrestling world today, but we wish him all the best. Do you have any Homicide memories? Any big memories on Homicide you wanted to talk about?
Oh, yeah, I actually have a really good one. So, I mean, I've seen him a ton of times. I guess most recently I saw him at GCW at the Hammerstein Ballroom, where he was on a 3 versus 3, a trios match, 6-man tag, whatever you want to call it. So he did that. I guess there was something else before I wanted to get to the good story. Seen him a bunch of times just recently over the years. And I remember what I want to say. Tonight, it kind of reminds me of, he had a tribute show at GCW. It was the tribute to Homicide in Brooklyn. And the big match there was he was teaming up with Hernandez for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
Versus Santana and Ortiz.
Wow.
It was a great match. Should have been the main event, in my opinion. But apparently, from what I was told, what I heard was Homicide's like, nah, the world champ has to go on last.
What a class act. Class act.
Infamously, it was Nick Gage versus God, what was it, like Big Louie? And Jesus. he sliced him with the pizza cutter. Big Louie's bleeding all over the place. He can't do the match. It's only 90 seconds into the match. So what was it? Jimmy Lloyd had to come out and wrestle Nick Gage in his socks.
It was
insane. And that's not even my Homicide story. That's just my tribute to Homicide story. Great show, great performance by him. My fun story for Homicide was, it was Final Battle. It was after 2010. It might have been like 2012, 2013. It was Red Dragon versus Outlaw Inc. I think that's what they call themselves, Homicide and Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the match just, like, the matchup, all these guys super talented, but it just wasn't clicking. Like, they weren't on that night.
Yeah.
And the crowd was like giving them some heat. And I was just singing Feliz Navidad, and we got Homicide to sing Feliz Navidad with us.
My God.
Which was
for those missing the connection, Final Battle is, or historically was, one of Ring of Honor's biggest pay-per-views, and it was always December. It was always the end of the year, and right around Christmas time, either a week before, give or take. So, yeah, no, that's a fun memory. The
best part was, like, Eddie Kingston and Homicide just kind of turned on the crowd, and, like, they were just getting, like, hostile and, like, throwing trash cans, and I'm like, why, Homicide? Why? 4K!
Jesus.
Well, we were singing Feliz Navidad.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Homicide providing many people a lot of fond memories over decades of professional wrestling. So we hope to see Homicide in good spirits soon. We hope to see Homicide in good health soon. And hopefully companies like TNA, like Ring of Honor, like AEW will honor him, because he is so foundational to a lot of the professional wrestling that we've seen today.
I would say at the very least, TNA, he's got to get a Hall of Fame induction.
I'd agree.
And Ring of
I'd
Honor,
agree.
those two, like, no question about it.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe not TNA just because of like they're iffy on. I didn't really read all the things, but like Hernandez has been kind of like in the hot seat as of.
But I think you could honor Homicide and sort of sidestep anything with Hernandez.
It would be tricky. They could do it. They just might not be worth the trouble. But at the very least, like, let's start with Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
We could, like, Ring of Honor, if they do like a Hall of Fame Homicide, first round inductee for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, man. Thank you for hopping in. Thank you for joining. I was going to talk about it regardless, but I appreciate being able to do it with you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I got to hop in, but I will let you get to it. I had a great time covering House of Glory. If you didn't see it, it's on the Instagram page. We got a couple reels up. We might start covering Battle Club Pro. We'll see. We're in talks.
Cool.
You go to some of those shows. That's another local indie here in New York. But I will let you guys get back to James and the Gym Pack Zone. He's got you covered. He's got your back.
Later, pal. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Have a good night, bud.
Later, buddy. Right on that. There you go. We're back in the Gym Pack Zone covering TNA. But yes, all the best to Homicide. Great talent, great wrestler. By all accounts, a good guy. Really good guy. Name a match after him, the Homicide match. Not a bad idea. You know it? Not a bad idea. Name it a Homicide match. I think that'd be really cool. Maria saying to live and die in LAX. Those are the days. But let's get back to it. Where did we end up? We were the Rascals. Yeah, no, I covered it. So it seems the Rascals and Ace Austin are going to stay as a unit for at least the foreseeable future. I'm here for it because Ace can sort of be the singles guy with backup from the Rascals, who are the tag team guys. I think that kind of works for everybody. And Ace getting a big win over Eric Young moving forward, if/when that comes, would really propel him up the card as he pins, hopefully, a former world champion for TNA. But moving on, we are joined backstage with Mean Gia Miller, the hardest working woman in wrestling, in TNA wrestling. Don't want to cause any wars there, but as she interviews Zaya Brookside. Zaya Brookside, who got misted by Rosemary last week. She says that her eyes feel fine. Like, her eyes are fine medically. The doctors say there's no permanent damage, but she can still feel it. She can still feel the mist in her eyes. When Gia asks her about almost using a steel chain on Rosemary last week, Zaya said that she had a class of consciousness and that Rosemary was trying to get into her head. It's at this point that the TV monitor behind them gets all screwy and Rosemary shows up on the screen. She asks Zaya if she's finally starting to understand. Zaya says that she didn't hesitate last week, but Rosemary disagrees. Rosemary dares Zaya to meet her in the ring tonight and to get her revenge. Zaya then says that she will have the perfect partner in mind, as Rosemary suggested bringing Savannah Evans into their dispute. So, fun matchup being set up for later. We then go back to the crowd, back to the Impact Zone, as we are ready for First Class with AJ Francis and Casey Navarro. They take the stage and they're going down, just berating the city of El Paso until Chavito Heat himself, Chavo Guerrero, makes a surprise appearance. Chavo confronts the two of them. AJ runs down Chavo and tells him that if he wanted the second best Guerrero on his show, he would have called up Dominic. Great line. Chavo says that the verdict is still out on whether Dominic is a Guerrero or not, making a really rude comment about Rey Mysterio's wife, about Dom's mom, and says that she had gotten around a little bit, and Eddie was damn good looking. I mean, that is true. Eddie was a good looking cat. He says that you can say anything you want about him, but he draws the line when they start talking down to El Paso. At this point, Frankie Kazarian comes out, and he doesn't understand why they would have Chavo Guerrero on the show. He says that he still has some heat with Chavo over the years. And then as the heels are sort of overwhelming Chavo, not physically yet, but, you know, getting in his face, Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr. come out to even the odds. And next week in El Paso, it's going to be Chavo, Laredo, and Octagon versus First Class and Frankie Kazarian. Okay, sure. We have the Colognes, we have Elijah, we have Chavo. Bring on those old WWE guys. I'm here for it. Let's do it. Chavo is undoubtedly a great worker, getting a lot of time now in Hollywood, helping a lot with professional wrestling in films. So he does a lot of stunt choreography for movies that feature wrestling, and just good work for Chavo. After this, we then go to what was supposed to be a full-on matchup, and we did get a good amount of action, a lot of ferocity, as we get to Mustafa Ali and Mike Santana having a rematch from a very, very good matchup at Sacrifice. If you're going to go check out a match from Sacrifice that isn't the main event, go check out Mustafa Ali versus Mike Santana. Mustafa getting apparently a dislocated jaw in that match and still wrestling and still winning. This matchup, again, it was good. It was a good matchup. I was just disappointed in the finish, as after an onslaught of offense from Mike Santana, who just kept bringing the fight, bringing the heat to Mustafa. Mustafa eventually decides he's just not here for it. He gets himself purposely counted out, goes through the crowd not wanting him to leave, but he is escorted to safety by the Great Hands. Again, lots of fun action in this very brief matchup. We saw some high-flying action. We saw some intensity. Santana is really selling his rage towards Mustafa Ali, really selling how personal this feud is. And Mustafa Ali not knowing how to combat that. So told a fun story. Technically now both men are 1-1 apiece at this point. So a rubber match is coming. Well, maybe, because Mustafa Ali backstage has other thoughts. Before we get backstage, though, the crowd is voicing their displeasure towards Mustafa Ali and their support for Santana. Santana then quiets the crowd and says that this is his home. This is his house. This is his yard. Eventually, we do go backstage where we see a Gia Miller chasing after Mustafa Ali, the Great Hands, and Tasha Steelz. She's trying to ask questions. They don't want to deal with him. They don't want to deal with her. Tasha sort of separating Mustafa from Gia. But when Gia asks, why did he run away from Mike Santana? Mustafa just gets very angry, says that he didn't run from Santana, and instead he conquered him. He says that they are done, and he is the one addiction that Santana will never beat. Gia tries asking for more, but Tasha just completely shuts her down, cuts her off, and they leave in their car. This is good. This is a great way to have a feud without any title on the line or any craziness. This is just a deeply personal feud, and Mustafa Ali crossing a lot of lines to get under the skin of Mike Santana. We then go back to the ring where Ryan Nemeth comes out first, introduces his brother, Nick Nemeth, his big brother, Nick Nemeth, and they go over what happened at Sacrifice. Now, if you guys didn't watch Sacrifice, I'll let you know. We had our first cage match in TNA in over 5 years, as we had on one side Joe Hendry, Elijah, Matt Hardy, and Leon Slater, and then, of course, Nick Nemeth rounding it out. against the System and the Colognes. The good guys won. Matt Hardy getting the pinfall victory over JDC 1-2-3 after a wicked twist of fate onto the steel chair. But it's what happened after the match that everyone is talking about, which was that Ryan Nemeth gets in the ring, locks the cage door, and Nick Nemeth hits the danger zone onto Matt Hardy, formerly known as the Zigzag, dropping Matt, and then the two brothers just absolutely assaulted Matt, beating him down with a chair. Matt was not medically cleared to show up in El Paso after that beatdown. Jeff, also having wrestled earlier in the night against Moose in a ladder match for the X Division Championship, also wasn't medically cleared to be in El Paso for this episode of Impact. So Nick talks about the fact that a year ago was when people started to really talk about TNA once again. And he says that he's the reason for that. It was him coming to TNA that made it the must-come-to place, the must-see place, the place to be with all eyes and all action. But then it was people like the Hardys who sort of slithered their way in after the fact, trying to take the glory, according to Nick. Maria, I agree with you. Very interesting segment. Very interesting segment. Nick says that the Hardys then tried driving a wedge between Nick and his brother Ryan, and that wasn't going to happen. He calls the Hardys frauds. It's at this point Leon Slater, the kid himself, comes out and says that he's tired of the way Nick has looked at and spoken to him. Slater says it's probably because the show stealer realizes he can't steal a show that's already been stolen by him. He says that he's not going to stand for him, for both brothers berating the Hardys. He goes into the ring, takes out Ryan Nemeth before being dropped by a big, nasty super kick from Nick Nemeth. So it feels like all the pieces are in place for the Nemeth brothers to challenge for the tag team titles from the Hardys, with a quick match between him and Leon Slater going to be in the in-between until we get there. I'm loving Slater. The kid is showing so much upside, showing a lot of personality. We already know he can go in the ring. So I'm hoping this partnership with the Hardys continues to positively affect him. And Nick being a heel again makes sense. He and his brother being together makes sense as a tag team. I'm not thrilled that they're probably going to be the ones to take the tag titles off the Hardys, but it's a good way to keep Nick important while not having him in the world title scene. That is being dominated by Joe Hendry, presumably soon Mike Santana, and Mustafa Ali. You know, it's saying the kid needs to understand his country's slang isn't understood everywhere. Yeah. You know, if you're not used to it, it's a little bit hard to follow, but he'll catch on. At least he's unique sounding. At least, you know, we know who we're listening to when he's on camera. But moving on, we then go to the previously teased Knockouts tag team match, as Rosemary and Savannah Evans took on Zaya Brookside and her mystery tag partner, Lei Ying Lee. Again, not a lot to really talk about with this match. Could have hit another gear, kind of brief. But the finish coming after it was Savannah Evans who accidentally got misted, allowing Zaya Brookside to and Lei Ying Lee to take advantage, and Lee hitting the Thunderstruck onto Evans as Zaya took out Rosemary, getting the 1-2-3 pinfall, the win for her team. It was a little bit of a messy match. Not bad, but very, very clearly just a let's get as many people on the card as possible type of match. And it'll be interesting to see how Zaya Brookside's story continues, especially as it feels like Lei Ying Lee is going to start to be positioned as a top babyface in the Knockouts division. We then go to our next Knockout segment, the big one of the night as far as I'm concerned, as the Elegances, Ash and Heather, have their finally moment where they finally are the Knockouts Tag Team Champions. I think this was take 3. I think this was their 3rd attempt at the tag titles. They finally won it. Ash by Elegance finally winning a title in TNA after a year of failure. I had called for them to win the tag titles. I think they should have done it sooner. And that's not a knock on Spitfire. I really do like Spitfire. Jody Threat is a great performer. And I think Danny Luna has so much upside, so much potential as a future singles champion. But I think Ash absolutely needed this. The Iceman, their personal concierge, went full expenses, all expense paid for this event, spending apparently $5,000 on their celebratory cake. Tom Hannafin mentioning that he probably got hosed on that cake. I thought that was really funny. Eventually, though, their celebration is interrupted by NXT stars Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. They're looking for a shot at the Knockouts Tag Team titles. They get right in the faces of the champions who are not happy that they're there. This brings out the former champion Spitfire, who have a contractually obligated rematch for the tag title. I don't have a problem with contractual rematches. That's fine. But after what was at the very least already a rematch, or possibly the 3rd match in a series, to then have a 4th match, come on, guys, come on. As things are starting to escalate even further, we get 2 more NXT talents as Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley make their way to the ring. Tatum had already appeared in TNA prior, I'd say very early on in the NXT TNA partnership. I want to say last year. I think she challenged Jordan Grace for the Knockouts title, if I'm not mistaken. But Tatum says that they are the freakiest thing to happen to the tag team division, and they say they've been underutilized in that tag division. They won't take it anymore, and they are coming for the TNA Knockouts titles. The crowd very hot for Gigi Dolan and for Tatum Paxley. At this point, Ash by Elegance just has an absolute hissy fit, absolute meltdown, and slaps Gigi Dolan in the face. This sets out a huge brawl between all 4 teams, all 8 women, and it is eventually broken up by TNA security. Santino Marella comes out, and then he says that next week there's going to be a match between the Elegances and Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley, but Spitfire is banned from ringside, and then he tries to ban Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, but they immediately start taking out security until Ariana Grace comes out and saves her father from being very physically intimidated by Legend and Jackson. I thought it was a really funny bit. She says that he might not have jurisdiction over them, but she does, and she bans them from being at ringside. So, big knockouts match set for next week. After the celebration, it is time for the main event, as we have Joe Hendry and Elijah taking on the System's Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, accompanied by Alicia Edwards. Again, unfortunate. I'm not trying to shit on it, but it was just another standard tag team match. This Joe Hendry and Elijah partnership is just continuing to grow. I don't know where it goes other than a one-on-one title match where Elijah turns heel, but I'm okay with it for now. I'm good with the ride. We saw the babyface team overcoming a lot of heel antics from the System, a lot of interference from Alicia Edwards. Eventually, the finish coming as Hendry catches them both into massive fallaway slams. And Elijah hits a huge knee onto Eddie Edwards in the corner, keeping him incapacitated, as Joe Hendry hits a big ol' standing ovation on to Brian Myers, getting the 1-2-3 as the musically inclined tag team stand tall with the victory as the show comes to a close. First of all, that was Impact. That was TNA this week. I enjoyed the show. I'd say it was pretty solid, a good follow-up to Sacrifice from last week. The crowd was hot. The crowd was very, very hot for these stars for this show tonight. Interesting because we didn't have the X Division champion Moose show up or the tag team champions, the Hardys, show up, which given Sacrifice and everything Moose went through last week, taking on Obafemi, as well as Jeff in that ladder match. I'm not surprised that those three men weren't there tonight, but still a very solid, strong show considering you're without two championships. I'm expecting this NXT TNA tension to start growing more and more. We'll see. I think it's what a lot of fans are waiting for. I think it's what a lot of fans are looking forward to. So we'll see about that and whatever shape that takes. Mustafa Ali and Mike Santana, they've got something really special there if they can keep it going. So I hope they do. And quite frankly, both men are worthy of becoming TNA champion. I think it's Santana's turn before Mustafa Ali, but sooner than later, I'd be happy to see either of those men wearing the TNA World Championship. Not that I'm rushing to see Joe Hendry lose it. Nemeth turning heel, right move. And El Paso is in for another good set of matches next week on TV. So it should be a really fun time to be watching Impact lately. But guys, thank you so much for joining. You know I appreciate it. You know I love you guys. I will hype up again. We are doing the Speedball Mike Bailey autograph giveaway. All you got to do is comment on the AEW Dynamite review from yesterday. You're entered. A lot of our people who were in the chat today, you know it. Maria, both already entered. So hopefully I'm rooting for you guys for next week. But yeah, you know the deal. I love you. I appreciate you. If you're already following us, thank you for making us feel so good. And if you're new and you're just checking us out for the first time, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Join the party. We have fun. I have cookies. I can't really give them to you through the screen, but maybe we could figure something out. And check us out on social media. We're everywhere. We're not just here on YouTube. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, TikTok. If there's another one, I'm sure we're there too. So I'm James Gisanti. This is the Mark It Down podcast. On Thursdays, this is the Gym Pag Zone where we cover TNA wrestling. As always, have a good night. As always, watch wrestling. And as always, watch TNA. Later, guys.